All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. Vasily Lomachenko seems like the walls are closing in on him, and I'll tell you why in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, I want to say thank you to everybody that attended the live stream when we called the Vasily Lomachenko versus Campbell fight. Excellent fight. Terrific job by Lomachenko. Shows the cat got a ton of heart. Luke Campbell, I don't think that highly of him as a fighter, but hey, man, he gutted it out. He actually hurt Lomachenko. Really good fight. So excellent fight. But also thank you to everybody that supports in the super chat, supports on the Patreon. Let's get into this. All right. You know, I am often called a Lomachenko hater when I point out the fact that I do not believe that he is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. And also, I definitely do not believe that he qualifies as an all-time great anywhere inside of the top 30 or anywhere inside of the top 30 greatest fighters of all time is an absolute insult to the sport of boxing. To say that Lomachenko is one of the best 30 fighters to ever do it in the 200 plus years of boxing tells me anybody that says that has little to no respect for well over 150 years of boxers and how many great fighters there have actually been in the sport of boxing, from Harry Greb to Harry Wells, to Jack Johnson, to Gene Tunney, there's just so many great boxers. To say that Lomachenko, after 12 or 13 fights and a loss, is in the top 30 of them is just, it's a spit in the eye, man. So I can't do that. And as a result, I'm called a hater a lot. Surprise, surprise. I like to call it myself a pessimist when it comes to Vasily Lomachenko. And one of the unfortunate things in this world about being a pessimist is that most times you wind up being right. That's just the nature of the world. There's a saying that, pessimists are usually right, but optimists are usually wrong. But most great things are achieved by optimists. So I have no problem with Bob Arum being an optimist as far as it concerns Lomachenko, and nor do I have any problem with his fans being very optimistic about his career. But just get your head around the fact that I am more than likely right, and you are more than likely wrong. And there is going to be an opportunity real quick coming up, from what I can see, to prove that I'm right. Vasily Lomachenko is walking into a portion of his career where the greats are made. And we get to see exactly how great he is. When you face, let me put it this way. In the early part of your career and in the prime of your career, you are facing people who are not necessarily as physically gifted as you. So you can be faster, you can be stronger, you can also be a better fighter. When you are faster and you're stronger and you're a better fighter, that's when you get just blowout fights that take place and you're looking like the king of the world. That, unfortunately, for 99.9% of athletes, 100% of athletes that actually get an opportunity to have a full career, right? I'm not speaking of the Salvador Sanchez, who, unfortunately passed away when he was still undefeated, still on his way up, still in his prime. Another great fighter that I suspect that most people that call Lomachenko the greatest, one of the greatest, don't even know and definitely didn't see fight. But most times, unless something happens like that, you see a physical decline taking place. And once that physical decline starts taking place, you start seeing other fighters come up who have the same level of talent, speed, and skill that the other person who's on a decline had when they were young. And now you have to see whether your experience and your ring IQ can help you save the day against those type of fighters. And from what I can see, Vasily Lomachenko is physically on the downside of his career. Vasily Lomachenko in that fight against Luke Campbell got hit a good amount of very clean shots by Luke Campbell. Vasily Lomachenko, by his own admission, was hurt by a body shot. He didn't look like he took body shots very well from Luke Campbell. And Vasily Lomachenko says, Luke Campbell's a strong puncher. Luke Campbell ain't that strong a puncher. Luke Campbell does not have some reputation as somebody that is really ripping you up with body shots and who's going to really hurt you and is a dangerous puncher. He is a mid-level he is a upper mid-level lightweight contender. Gold medal, whatever. We're talking about the pros. Yuriokas Gamboa has a gold medal, and he's not the top lightweight either. Felix Diaz has a gold medal when Terrence Crawford fought him. He was not a top level 140 pounder. I find it really interesting how people, when all else fails, point to their Olympic experience. This is professional boxing, and Luke Campbell is lost to Jorge Linares. And he lost to Jorge Linares pretty comfortably. And in my opinion, he gave Vasily Lomachenko a little bit better fight than he gave, a slightly better fight than he gave Jorge Linares. I don't think that those scorecards should have been as wide as they were, but I will tell you, Lomachenko definitely showed that he's got a lot of grit by walking down Campbell, hurting Campbell, letting his hands go on Campbell. Yeah, definitely great job by pulling that fight out the way that he did. But here's the problem. With Gervonta Davis moving up to 135 pounds, if what is being said is true, this is still in the sources say category, as far as I'm concerned, right? Respect the people 100% that reported it. Until I see that it's happened, I'm going to take a cautious look at it. But it seems from everything that I hear that Gervonta Davis is moving up to 135. You also have Devin Haney, who's fighting Abdulev coming up pretty soon, and to become Vasily Lomachenko's mandatory for the lightweight WBC title. Now, why do I say that is trapping him? That is starting to trap him. He wants to unify. The next only belt left is the IBF. You have Teofimo Lopez fighting the champion, Richard Comey. Richard Comey is a better fighter than Luke Campbell. He's a better fighter than Luke Campbell. He's a more aggressive fighter than Luke Campbell. He hits harder than Luke Campbell. If Teofimo Lopez, if Comey beats Teofimo Lopez, then Vasily Lomachenko has to fight Richard Comey. He goes through that. Now, first, they also said that before that fight, Lomachenko wants to get in another fight. So Lomachenko, who I believe is on the downside of his physical abilities and is slowing down and is being figured out more and more by fighters and how you approach the fight, is going to have to go through one more fight that I believe he'll win, because they're going to definitely give somebody he can beat. And that ain't hard. I mean, there's a lot of people Lomachenko will beat. Favorite over most everybody, quite honestly. And then he fights Richard Comey. Once he fights Richard Comey, which is 2 fights away, what's he going to do? He talked about moving down to 130 pounds, looking for Gervonta Davis. But now Gervonta Davis is 135 pounds, which I think is a very, very smart move by Gervonta Davis, because Gervonta Davis is having a hard time making 130 pounds. Having a hard time making 130 pounds. He is a lightweight. Vasily Lomachenko may look vulnerable to body shots and looks like he's slowing down. So if he's either going to have to fight Gervonta Davis, and because there's nobody to go down to 130 pounds for. Is he going to fight Burchelt and Tevin Farmer and Ito, Jermell Herring at 130 pounds? That would be completely anticlimactic. He is now, because of Gervonta Davis moving up, he's now forced to stay at 135 pounds, which means he's going to be there long enough for Devin Haney to become a mandatory for him. That, my friend, is a gauntlet that he's going to have to run through of very young, very strong, very aggressive fighters that all are going to take a pound of flesh out of him. And me being the pessimist, and pessimist being right usually, I don't think Vasyl Lomachenko is going to make it through that. I don't think after 2 more fights for Devin Haney that he'll be able to beat Devin Haney. Now, while we're in the middle of this mass celebration of an appeal for him, just remember that this is how it usually goes. Devin Haney is a super talent. And by the way, Devin Haney is slick as a can of oil. Very difficult to hit. Footwork and foot speed galore. On the outside, Lomachenko is not going to be able to walk him down like that. He's not going to stand out in front of Vasyl Lomachenko. He's not going to be there set for right jabs, and he's not going to be afraid of him. But we'll see what happens, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.